Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Thumbs up. Okay, I'm Donna Hoffman. I'm actually the founder of Women on Course. This is our 20th year anniversary, and I would like to welcome you all to the 12 Steps to Better Business Golf. So we're going to get started. I have a PowerPoint that I'm going to share as I do this, so let me get that set up for you. All right, everybody can see that? Okay. So we are going to start by talking about the situations. Well, I'm going to start with a question. Okay, let's see. We got to get on our next slide here. So, oops, let me go back here. What percentage of golf are you currently playing for business purposes? Is it 75%, 50%, 25%, or less than 25%? You can go ahead and put that in the chat, which we'll see later. But hopefully, after this presentation, you'll be better at it and you'll be more encouraged to play golf for business. So, before we get into the 12 steps, I want to talk about the 3 ways that you can participate, and that's based on your goals. What is your format? So, one of the reasons why people pick golf is because the mood is a little lighter, people are a little more relaxed, and you're seeing them outside of an office environment. So if your goal is to get to know people on a deeper level, you may want to choose to actually participate in the game. And by participation, you can play a round of golf. You get to meet and spend time, quality time with 3 individuals for maybe 2 to 5 hours. A lot of tournaments. You'll be with a larger group of people, but if you are as a player, you get to hone in on those 3 people you're going to spend time with. A lot of these corporate outings are about a team format. So remember, it's not about winning the game, but it's about relationship building. Okay, if your goal is to meet a lot of people and get exposed to people, you may want to be a spectator. And there are many ways you can be a spectator. One is to attend a golf event. There are professional PGA and LPGA events where you're walking with the crowds, you're mingling. I love watching golf because you're not stuck in a seat with 2 people on either side of you. You can move around, you can go to hospitality tents. It's a great way to meet a lot of people, and you have a topic to talk about, which is the game that's being played. You can also sponsor, you can be a sponsor of a golf event. And as a sponsor, you will maybe be positioned on a hole. So you'll get to see everybody coming through. You can hand out your card, your materials. You might want to volunteer for a tournament. And when you volunteer, it's kind of double duty because you're going to meet the volunteer committee. So you're going to get to know a select group of people. And then on the day of the event, you're going to be out meeting everyone in the crowd. So volunteering is a great way, sponsoring is a great way. And then, of course, there is the 19th hole. A lot of people in business, they might skip the golf tournament and just show up afterwards for the dinner or the cocktail party. I kind of discourage you to do that because what happens is all the people that played that day have formed these bonds, and you're kind of this new person walking in and they don't know who you are and they're already in their little groups. So if you do want to really get involved, you want to stick it out the whole day. And we'll talk about when you're ready to jump into play in a little later today. The last way you can participate, and people don't think about this, is identify yourself in the office as a golfer. If you take notice, listen to these informal conversations. I especially hear them at airports or before meetings start, but more than likely, people are going to start talking about golf, especially today and tomorrow. The Masters has started. So if you are a golf novice, you don't know anything about golf, or you shut your mind off to golf, people are going to be chatting, you're not going to be part of it. So even if you become knowledgeable about the sport, the professional sport, know who's been playing, knows what tournaments are going on around your office, you do want to identify yourself as a golfer. You don't have to be a good golfer. Before I started Women on Course, I had a video production company, and I sold it to a major defense contractor here in Washington, D.C. And on Casual Friday, we were actually filming a golf television show that was called Women on Course. That's how we started. But I was wearing a golf outfit. I had a logoed shirt that was from a tournament that I went to, and I was in the elevator, going up the elevator, and a gentleman I've seen every day for a year stopped and finally talked to me and said, "Do you golf?" Now, I'm not a good golfer at the time, but I said, yes, I do. We started a conversation, and unbeknownst to me, he was the head of subcontracting for the entire company. He had no clue that this Khaki was the name of the company, had bought a video unit. There were 2,000 people in the building. We were a small group of 15. They were actually working on a contract that had a video component, and he was outsourcing that piece of the contract. And knowing that we had an in-house facility, he used our group in the proposal. He won, and we got a big contract. So without even swinging a club, I used golf to make a major sale. So that was pretty cool. So let's talk about, if you are going to dive into the golf world and use it for business, these are the 12 things that I feel you need to keep in mind. The first one is be on time. Okay, time takes on a different meaning in golf. So fashionably late is not fashionable in golf. So if you are playing a round of golf and your tee time is, say, 4 o'clock, you are expected to be at the first tee with everything you need and ready to go a good 5 minutes before 4 o'clock. That's considered on time. Okay, 10 minutes is even better, but 5 minutes is great, because once the clock hits 4 o'clock, they're off on the course and you are late. And in a professional tournament, if you miss your tee time, you are disqualified. All right, so how do you do time? I'm a very time efficient person. I always work backwards from when I have to be there. So if you have a tee time, work backwards from when you're going to leave your house. Look at the traffic pattern, maybe the day before. If you've never been to the golf course, make sure that you don't have any unusual traffic that you're going to go to. Allow time for different things you don't anticipate. You may have to change your clothes because you're coming from the office. You may have to change your shoes from your driving shoes to your golf shoes. You may want to warm up on the range. You may not know where everything is. Some golf courses, the first tee is a cart ride, a 5-minute cart ride from the clubhouse. Some golf courses are large. It's very confusing where the clubhouse is. You have to drop your clubs. So if it's a real important business golf outing, you can always take a dry run and go out to visit the course beforehand, so you know exactly where you're going. And when it comes to time, an average round of golf may take 4.5 hours. Make sure you allow time on your calendar. The men do it all the time, and block out an extra hour to socialize after the round. A lot of people play and they go, I gotta go. And if you miss that first 30 minutes at the 19th hole, you're missing a real valuable time to network with people. Okay, so that's about being on time. And I like to say at Women on Course, if you are late, we do not wait. Okay, dress to impress. Just like in the office, if you're going to an important function, you want to look professional. I teach a lot of how to prepare for golf. I'm not a golf pro, but I teach a lot of how to prepare. And in one instance, I see the beginners show up and they have a ragtag assortment of clothing. One time I did see a woman, she walked up, she was in a monochromatic all navy blue pants, polo with a logo. She had her hair in a ponytail. I said, are you sure you're in the right place? Because she literally looked like a professional golf teacher. And she told me, no, I live on a golf course and I've actually never held a golf club. So out of everybody in that group, my impression, she was tall also, but my impression was this woman is like a pro. So just dressing appropriately already gives people the impression of who you are. You're professional. There is a dress code in golf. We're not going to go over that in this presentation, but make sure you know what's appropriate. The most embarrassing thing that can happen to you is have someone from the staff tap you on the shoulder and say, excuse me, ma'am, that top is not allowed. You need to go in the pro shop and buy something else. So you don't want that to happen before you even hit the first tee. All right, when you are shopping for your golf outfit for a golf tournament or business golf, step it up a little bit. Consider this a business meeting. All right, so you dress nice for the office. Get rid of the khaki shorts and the white polo. Pick outfits that do double duty. A lot of these designers are making golf dresses, nice patterns, nice fabrications. You can wear them to work, and with a quick change of take off your jacket, put on a vest. Maybe change your shoes and you're ready for golf. So there's a lot of great options out there. I also will choose things to create conversation. Okay, you're trying to start conversation. So a lot of designers make really cute patterns. I have a skirt that has little, really tiny golf carts and golf clubs, and people might comment on it, or a bold color. One of my favorite things, if you don't want to invest in clothing that's loud, I have a golf bag that is brown with white polka dots. And I was in a tournament where that bag was put on the cart, and the men were like, oh my gosh, we got stuck with the girl with this loud golf bag. So immediately everybody knew who I was. Who's the person associated with that bag? And then I showed up, hit a nice drive, and it worked for me in a great way. So if you do have a business and you have a polo shirt, it's great to wear your logo on your shirt, on your towel, on your bag. It's free advertising. Let people know what you do. Do not risk a wardrobe malfunction. What I mean by is your undergarments, make sure that they're fitting appropriately. The first time I ever played golf on a course, I pulled out a pair of khaki shorts. And again, this is 20 years ago before they made fabric that stretched. And the seam in the back started slowly splitting. And I ended up having to tie a jacket around my waist because that is the position. A lot of people saw my back end. So make sure you don't have any buttons popping off your shirt. Make sure everything looks great. You can swing the club. It's not too tight or restrictive. And check the weather before you go. You want to be comfortable. 5 hours is a long time to be out on the golf course, and the weather can change dramatically. Okay. And then if you are going into the 19th hole after golf, consider something that you might throw on quickly. You're not going to take an hour to get ready, but quickly to freshen up. Maybe you have a jacket that you're going to put on, or you're going to figure out taking off your hat and how to fix your hair to go in the clubhouse. Okay. So that's what to wear. That's the fun part. Come prepared. Okay, this is just like in business. You don't want to enter a meeting and people, can I borrow a pen? Can I borrow a piece of paper? Can I borrow? You don't want to be the borrowing person, because remember, how you conduct yourself on the golf course is how people are going to perceive you're going to operate in business. So the more prepared you are, like the Girl Scout or the Boy Scout, you come across that you've really taken the care and time to think about this. Once you leave the clubhouse, you are on your own. So whatever in your golf bag, you can't go buy something in the pro shop. So make sure your golf bag has everything you're going to need. How many golf balls do you need to take? Some of our newer golfers will bring one golf ball and one tee. And the reason I show this visual is because tees are meant to be broken. So if your tee breaks, you're out of luck if you only brought one. And golf balls sometimes do get lost. So a dozen golf balls are great to have in your bag. Bring at least 18 tees if you're playing 18 holes, because that is how many you may end up breaking. Okay, and pack for your comfort and pack for the game. So comfort would be things like sunscreen. I have bangs and they get in my face when I look down. So I might want to make sure I have a clip to hold my hair back so I can see. Sunglasses for me are critical. I cannot see without sunglasses. So make sure you have all those things and you're not borrowing. Or make a stop to the pro shop and buy the things you need first. Okay, number 4, no apologies. This is a big one for me. Would you get up in front of your coworkers to give a presentation and say, I really suck at giving presentations. I'm horrible at this. No, you would not do that. Nobody would listen to you. So don't walk in there and tell people you're a terrible golfer. Okay? No disparaging remarks ever goes in front of the word golfer. You can say, I'm a newer golfer, I'm a learning golfer, I'm an occasional golfer, but don't say I'm horrible, I'm terrible. You don't want to do that. You don't want to put yourself in a bad light. You're going to try your best. Nobody at these events are professional golfers typically. Everyone started as a beginner. You can admit that you're new, don't dwell on it, and make sure to reassure them that you are prepared, that you know the etiquette, you know the pace of play, and you are a course-ready golfer. That is the key to stepping on the golf course, is being a course-ready golfer. So when you hit a ball and it goes nowhere, it is a whiff, you do not say, I am sorry. No, you walk off, You say, Donna, it's your turn. You walk off as if you hit a hole in one. Nobody cares where the ball goes unless you start drawing negative attention to yourself. Don't do that. It's the next person's turn. Get the attention off of you and onto the next person. All right. That is all I'm going to say about do not say you are sorry, because if you try your best, you are not going to be sorry. Okay. How many people have seen this at the golf course where you're playing with four people? In business golf, you are out there to be present with your playing partners. You are not to be sitting there on your phone. So be a team player. Now, if you are playing recreational golf and maybe you're playing with better players and they are teeing off at different tee boxes. So let's just say men, you're playing with men and they're playing at the blue tee box and your tee box is the red tee box. Don't sit in the cart while the three of them go off. Get out of your cart, walk with the group, and stand there. And this shows your team player because those players tend to hit the ball long and far. So you can help out by looking for where their ball went and say, hey, Joe, I see your ball. It's right to the right of that fire hydrant over there. Well, there's no fire hydrant, but it's right to the right of that tree. You will save them a lot of time and embarrassment because they have to go looking for their ball. Other ways to be a team player is bring a club to your cart partner. So if you're driving the cart and he's been walking to the putting, grab your partner's putter and bring the putter. Let's say you kind of gave up on the hole. You're a new golfer, your teammates are doing well. You say, I've had enough fun on this hole. And you're just going to watch the group. Stay behind and maybe say, hey, I'll rake the bunker for you. Why don't you go ahead? Or the cart pulls up that's selling refreshments. What does anybody need? I'll go and buy the refreshments while you guys keep playing. Okay. So yardage. If you've ever noticed, if you play golf, on the golf course, there are little, what do you call them? Well, they're little hose bibs or little, I can't think of the word right now, but there's little markers on the golf course and they tell you the yardage to the center of the green. If you ever notice those, there's usually a beginning, a front of the green, a middle of the green, and the back of the green. So you can help your partner by saying, hey, I'm standing right here. It's 100 yards to the hole from this point. Or usually a golf course will have a 150 marker, a 100 marker. So you can say, hey, this is the 100-yard marker right here so that the person hitting can kind of distance, oh yeah, I need a club that's going to go about 80 yards. So you can help people that way. Just be part of the team is the point of this. Okay, accept the score. So golf is a game of honor. Each golfer is responsible for determining their own score. Okay, it's not up to the other person with you. If I say I shot a 4, that is what I'm going to write down, even though you counted and saw that I shot a 6. So even if I'm a cheater, there are a lot of cheaters out there. All right, do not second guess the golfer and tell them they cheated. All right, just file it away and know if they're cheating on their golf game, what are they going to do in business? The same thing goes for when a ball lands, you have to play the ball where it landed, okay? So if you see people start kicking their ball or moving it around, they are breaking the rules. So there are rule breakers, there are scorekeeper cheaters, file it away. The first time I ever played in an official tournament where we had to follow the rules, I was playing with my husband. It was a couples tournament, and I hit the drive of my life on the first hole. Boom, way out there, the longest I ever hit. And it was on the border of being out of bounds. It was maybe an inch from being out of bounds. Well, our playing couple partner went up to the ball and said, this ball is out of bounds. It does not count. Now, I looked down the line. My husband looked down the line. It was absolutely in bounds. Absolutely. So I told him that twice. He kept refusing to accept that it was in bounds. And my husband elbows me and goes, you know what? Concede. Tell him it's out of bounds because we have to play 17 more holes with this gentleman. And it doesn't really matter if we win or not, but it's going to make our lives miserable if we start arguing. So I was really angry. I really didn't want to do it. But yes, I did say it was out of bounds. I took a hit. And wouldn't you know it, 4 more times in the game, he questioned my shot in particular. One time he called the pro shop to get a ruling. We conceded every time. And wouldn't you know, at the end, they won first place. Hooray for them. So I will never do business with that gentleman. I will never want to play with that gentleman ever again. But at least I had a good time with my husband. So accept the score of your playing partners. Number 7, when should you start to talk about business? When should you bring it up? All right. This is kind of a fine tuning thing, but know when to talk and when not to talk, first of all. When a player is swinging their club or when a player is preparing for their turn, that is not the time to say anything at all. Golf is a very mental game. Okay. People are in their head. So never talk when they're swinging their club. Um, a good time to talk is usually in the cart when you're driving to the next hole. Okay. Um, but while you're playing that hole from tee to green, you don't want to bring up topics that are not about the game. You may not realize this, but people are thinking, what club should I use? Where should I aim the ball? Even if they're not hitting, as they're driving, they're looking at the course. So if you start going, so where do you work? What do you do? How many kids do you have? The minute you start doing that, you're breaking their concentration. Okay. They're going to be polite, but you don't want to break concentration. So I would keep all non-golf chatter to in between the shots. And what I like to do is be patient with bringing up business. Sometimes you're anxious, you've hooked this guy, you really want to talk to him, you've got 5 hours with him. The first hole is not when you want to start going right into it, okay? Get the game going for a bit, get some softballs going, get them chatting. And then when you're mid-round, check the mood, read the room, see if it's time. Maybe then you can start talking. But if it's not, if they're still enjoying themselves or in the game, hold off. When the round ends, hey, you want to grab a drink after and you go to the 19th hole? But don't feel pressure to bring up business then as well. You could play the whole round, 19th hole, and never talk about it. There's a guy named Bill Storer, and he's president of Business Golf Strategies, and he says in Golf Magazine, play the 20th hole. People don't think about that. The 20th hole is your post-round follow-up after the whole game is over. Okay, so this is a touch and feel thing. Cheers, drinking. Elixirs abound at the golf course sometimes. So perhaps you're thinking that I'm going to have a little drink to take the edge off, little swing lube. Um, my advice on this is to treat this like the office Christmas party. You will pay for whatever happens on Saturday night, on Monday morning. So while people are drinking and having a good time, you want to keep your wits about you. And if they insist, come on, have a drink, have a shot of birdie juice, celebrate. You don't want to turn them off and be like a Debbie Downer, but make sure that you are always in control of your emotions. And that's all I want to say about that. But just be careful on the drinking part because, again, people are having a great time. They're throwing around the F-bomb words. And then the next day on Monday, they'll say, oh gosh, did you see her? She was just so, cussing and drinking. And they might hold it against you. So best to just kind of keep it in check for business. All right, we talked a little bit about this at the start. Golf is a great sport to learn about other people, learn about their personalities. Are they a cheater? Are they considerate? Are they all about themselves? But they're also watching you. Okay. So I have played with many people. All of a sudden they get quiet. They're just not talking at all. I'm like, what is going on? And you're afraid to talk to them because they're just so frustrated with their game. It's best to just stay away from them, but you don't want to turn into this moody, sulky person. And again, we talked about apologizing, making comments about how terrible you are. So you want to keep a cool head because in business, adversity is going to happen. You're in the sand, a deadline is missed. This is a great place to show you're cool, you're professional, and you can handle adversity. Okay. Also, treat the staff respectably. I've seen people who are sugar sweet to everybody, and the minute a staff person comes around and they're like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, it's like being in a restaurant. They're ordering around the server. So watch how you treat the staff, watch how other people treat the staff. Okay? The marshal especially. If you don't know, the marshal is the person that is driving around the golf course backwards to make sure you're keeping a good pace of play. I hate to admit it, but we've had one women on course member who cussed out the marshal. They then sent the general manager out there. She cussed him out. So we had to politely ask her, we refunded her membership and we asked her not to come back because she did not uphold a respectable demeanor. And it can get quite dicey. A lot of times you're playing golf at a course that's pretty expensive. So you don't want to ruin the round for other people. Okay. I have women that they just get sulky and they just get into, and it's like a negative dark cloud, and nobody wants to be around that. So if you're really having a bad day, or you get a text that, family member just died and you really can't handle it, excuse yourself from the game and leave the course. Okay. It's better than sticking around. This is really, really important because I will start to get emails at Women on Course. Do not pair me with this person. And if I start to get 3 or 4 of those in the course of a couple months, I know there's a problem. So control your emotions. Okay, play the 19th hole. This is sometimes my favorite part, people's favorite part. Again, the 19th hole is the place where good networking is happening. You might want to prepare in advance some open-ended questions that you can ask people for conversation starters. You've just played a whole round of golf, so you have a lot of things you can talk about with your playing partners. And if you're on the newer side of golf, you might want to ask one of the more experienced players some tips because people love to teach and impart advice. You do not want to ask for advice on the golf course. Absolute no no. Why am I hitting this left? Why do I keep whiffing? The golf course is where you play the game. After golf is where you practice and improve your game. So keep that in mind. Don't start asking people, don't become a needy golfer. What club should I use? What should I, because you should have taken care of that before you hit the course. But the 19th hole is the place you can ask that. Hey, I noticed that you were really hitting the green from 60 yards out. What club were you using? Or something like that. So those are great questions to save for the 19th hole. And then sometimes you get stuck with people that you don't want to be talking to. So has that ever happened to you? Someone's just going on and on and on. So get a buddy system going. If you know there's someone in the group, someone that can tap and shoulder, hey, Don, I need you over here for something. Or excuse yourself momentarily to go to the restroom. Or introduce that person to someone else. But wait for a pause and exit. Okay, before we get to number 11, how would you describe yourself after you've met a potential business contact? I'm the queen of follow-up. I could use a better system to follow up more often, and follow-up is just not in my DNA. So follow-up is number 11, and this is what we were talking about, the 20th hole. And this is where you can get really creative. If you were out there on a golf course and maybe your partner was looking at certain plants, like, wow, look at these azaleas here, or you're talking about a certain topic and you find an article, make sure after you get their name and their phone number or their email address and follow up with something about the round or something that was of interest to them. Maybe they're talking about their kids getting into a different college, this college or that college. You can also just write a plain old thank you note. People love to be thanked. But this is a great time. Make sure that you create a reason maybe to follow up or to see each other again. Okay, and the last one, I get asked this question all the time. How do I know if I'm good enough to sign up for a tournament? Am I good enough to step onto a golf course? So at Women on Course, I have a term, I call it a course ready golfer. And on our website, we have a quiz and you have to answer 5 questions. Are you golf course ready? And those questions are, do I know what pace of play means and how to keep it? Do I know the proper etiquette? Okay. Do I know when I hit a ball, when I hit 10 balls, do I make ball contact over half the time? Because you don't want to be out there swinging constantly and missing. Am I prepared with the proper outfit, the proper gear? And last of all, am I bringing my A game? Am I bringing a positive attitude to have fun? So if you can answer those questions, you are ready to play as long as you pick the proper format. So don't go into a tournament where it's best ball. People have used this term inappropriately. What best ball means is I am going to keep my own score from tee to green. And when you finish that hole, out of the four players, whoever had the best score is what's written on the golf cart, on the card. And you have to follow the rules when you play in a tournament. So if you typically can't get the ball in the hole in 2 over par, you don't want to sign up for a best ball tournament because you're going to be hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. It's going to be miserable. So you want to make sure you're signing up for something where relationship building is the primary focus and keeping score is secondary or not the focus at all. Okay. If you're playing with a really great golfer, don't be intimidated. Okay. But sometimes you may be the better golfer of everyone else. Don't disparage yourself. Okay. I remember going out to play golf for the first time by myself. I went out to a little par 3 course and there were 3 men. And of course, the 3 men went first because their tee box was furthest back. One went over the green, one went off to the right, and one went off to the left. Okay. I got up there to my box, it was closer, and I hit it about a foot from the flag. And the first thing they all said is, "Oh my gosh, you're not a beginner," like I said I was. "You're a ringer. They start, and I just kept saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not that good. I'm really not that good." So I learned, don't say I'm sorry, and don't just say thank you, because on the next hole, I was just as bad as the other 3 guys. So know your course ready. I'm gonna stop the share. I have one more parting comment about playing in a business tournament. When typically, this is sad but true, but when a group of men see a woman walk up to their group and they're going to play with them, they immediately think you're going to hit a bad shot and you're not going to be good. So all you can do is impress people when you hit a great shot. You can be impressive. You're not going to disappoint anyone. But when men get up to hit their ball, men are expected to be athletic, they're expected to hit a great shot. So all they can do is be disappointing. So you have nothing to lose when you get out there. And that is my presentation on the 12 steps to better business golf. So at this point, I'm going to stop the